What up? What up? What up? What's going on, America? Ooh, Alyssa is back.
You're welcome.
It only took the end of the world.
I took like a 2-month break. Y'all are acting so dramatic.
You are so privileged.
The original crew.
I took a 2-month break.
It's the OG, y'all.
Only took a 2-month break. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
The Purge is officially happening.
And Jake couldn't be more excited.
If we weren't licensed and could get sued, we'd play It's the End of the World as we know it.
This isn't funny.
Well, you're right. It's really not funny. Guys, there's so much to go over. Let's see here. First of all, we would be remiss if we just don't talk about Parler first. Yep. First and foremost, everything about Parler. Now, I gave you like a little emergency SOS thing. I felt like I was, you guys ever seen that Terminator movie? One of the 8 of them, where it's the, like, how John Connor actually becomes John Connor.
You know I have.
You know
I think I've seen one of
you.
the 8 movies.
Like
you need to watch them.
in this one, it's a horrible film, but in this one, it shows the nukes like actually going off from Skynet and everything, and how John Connor actually becomes John Connor is there's literally no one left, and somehow he ends up in this bunker, and somebody's like trying to find anyone alive on the radio, and he just goes, "This is John Connor, you know, I'm here," and like that's like how he becomes like this military person. No training, no nothing. He just answers the radio, and that's how it got. That's how I felt doing the SOS episode the other day, because no one was here. I was here by myself. Jake had the computer that we actually run things through for the actual studio, so I had to go dig this little. It was like a little ball.
Yeah, blue.
It's a blue ball.
It's a blue ball
microphone. They did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. They did that on purpose. Anyway, and so I had to plug it into my Mac in the office, and you could hear like echoes. And so I apologize for the bad quality of the last one, but I felt it was super important to talk to you. At the time, they were going after, they had removed the president of the United States. So again, address that one more time, just in case, because we have a tendency in the news to forget things. The most powerful man in the world, the president of the United States, and he still is for 8 days, has been removed from speaking to the American people, not by Congress, not by the government, but by big tech. Big tech has decided that the president does not have the right to speak to you. So big tech is now the most powerful entity in the world. Yep. If you really want to, break it down to its most basic point.
Well, Graham, they would have done this a long time ago if they could have got away with it. But now they're like, well, we won, so boom.
Yeah, they're not even waiting for like the actual inauguration. Like they're like, oh, we got this, we won, and it's boom.
They would have got rid of him from day one.
Anyway, last time I talked to you, Parler was being threatened by Google and Apple to remove their app from the App Store. Now, this would have been a catastrophic blow to Parler, but Parler still would have been allowed to exist because you could still go on the internet and, do it. And if you had already downloaded the app, you could still operate, right? Well, as if that wasn't big enough of an attack, then the Amazon web servers have now decided that Parler is so dangerous that they dropped them from the Amazon web servers. So now you cannot even find Parler. Parler is gone. And just to put this in perspective for you really quick, they had the Parler CEO last night talking about how he fears for his life. He's separated from his family because he's afraid that people are going to go after his family. Parler was appraised at $1 billion. It was a $1 billion company, and they killed it in 3 days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Killed it in 3 days. Now, the thing I want to point out really quick, and this is something that you really need to think about, and credit to my wife, Alyssa, because she brought up this point. All right? Parler is so dangerous. It's so horrific of a threat to America, to humanity, to kids, to your viewing eyes, because you're so sensitive, that they took it down in 3 days. Took it down. But yet, child pornography is still rampant all through the internet. Mm-hmm. So Pornhub and places like that are still operational.
Yeah, Hunter Biden's videos are still going on.
Yeah. Their apps work. Their web servers are still allowing them to be on there, knowing that Pornhub is not keeping track and not having any idea of what's actually being uploaded onto their systems in the first place. But that's okay. That's okay for the web servers to go, well, I mean, how are we supposed to track that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Right.
They're your web servers. You can just kick them off, apparently. Well, it's a free country. They have a free business, a private business. They should be allowed to do it. You're right. I love this argument from Facebook and all these people. Well, we have private businesses. We can make any decisions we want. Well, Parler was a private business, right, and they didn't get to make whatever decision they want. And if every business can make whatever decision they want to make, then why are we closed?
Yeah.
Hello? Am I I feel like that scene in Zoolander where I feel like I'm taking crazy pills at this point. Yeah. What are we doing? Now, they haven't stopped there, okay? Shopify is removing sites that have any MAGA anything, any reference of MAGA whatever on your site or whatever. Shopify, which is how online websites make transactions, they make money, bam, gone. No right to cure. No, hey, you got to take that down. Nothing. Also, MailChimp, one of the largest platforms of hosting all of your email addresses for businesses, which is how a lot of businesses make money. They are just eliminating people's abilities to do that. You are witnessing a meticulously calculated, horrifically, I don't even know the word, horrifically biased, horrifically it will not be long before conservatives are considered second-class citizens, okay? How long are we going to allow this to continue? How long? How long until conservatives can't get business loans? How long until that picture of you at a MAGA rally comes back and you can't get a job? How long before they deny you health care because of who you supported in a political party? So real quick before we move on, I just want to read one thing. Everybody's heard that Then They Came for Me thing, and it's talking about the Holocaust in Nazi Germany, right? So I changed it around just a bit. I'm going to read this really quick, and as I hit the microphone, I want you to hear me when I say this. First, they came for the radicals, and then I didn't say anything because I wasn't a radical. Then they came for the conspiracy theorist.
Yep, that's you.
Jake. And I didn't say anything because I wasn't a conspiracy theorist. Now, you may be on the left right now, and you may be seeing what's going on. Now they're coming for the conservatives, and you're not saying anything because you're not a conservative. But then they're going to come for you. And what are you going to do when there's no one left to speak for you? This is as serious of a thing as we have ever faced, ladies and gentlemen. And we have a lot of stuff to talk about. But you need to think about that for 1 second. Whether you're on the left or you're on the right, it doesn't matter. What is happening right now that non-elected officials are able to decide who the president can speak to, who elected officials can speak to, who journalistic outlets and news outlets are able to, what they're able to say, what your business can do and can't do, if you're allowed to even start a business? It's already over if we don't fight against this. What are you going to do? All right, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's my little speech there. Jake and Alyssa are here.
Just letting you go, babe.
But I had to go through that. But first, before we do that, let's get into a sponsor. All right, so today we have Bespoke Post.
Yeah.
The curators at Bespoke Post have done it again this winter with an all-new lineup of essential box of awesome collection for guys guaranteed to upgrade your life. Whether it's showcase pieces to level up your indoor hosting skills or cozy threads for those blustery days, Bespoke Post only sends guys the best stuff every month. No matter what you're into, Box of Awesome has you covered. From style and grooming goods to barware, cooking tools, and outdoor gear, Box of Awesome has collections for every part of your life. To get started, take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Your answers will help them pick the right Box of Awesome for you. It's free to sign up, and you can skip a month or cancel anytime. Each box costs only $45, but has over $70 worth of gear inside. Get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com and enter the code GRAHAM at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com, code Graham for 20% off your first box. All right, so in amazing news, Alabama won the national championship last night. Woo! Jake, I swear, there it is. Man,
yeah,
just a little bit of support, people.
It was a good game, too.
I supported your Chiefs when
That's
you won
true.
the Super Bowl.
We did do
and
that.
you have
For the first time in 50 years, Alabama's won how many times?
Yeah, but
It's like the Yankees.
he made history last night.
Nick
So it's like a
Saban-
Yankees fan. I want you to support the World Series. You know, back
Nick
in the 90s.
Saban
Saban
made
made
history, and if I can, and I know we have a lot of female listeners, so if you don't care about this, I apologize.
I'm sorry. A lot of female listeners love football.
I said if you don't. I didn't say I know you don't.
you didn't have to say female. You could have just said
Okay.
a lot of listeners.
For all the male listeners who don't like
There we go.
football out
Thank
there. Anyway,
All you see is a bunch of tight ends out there.
the story of this Alabama
I
team.
do.
Look, no. I want to talk about it because these kids, because that's what they are, right? They're kids, right? These kids bucked the trend of the new age people. All right, the new millennial entitlement. You see all these young college kids opting out to play because they're thinking about the money in the future.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner this year, arguably one of the best wide receivers in college football ever, right? Okay, he could have gone pro last year. He decided to come back because they wanted to win a title. Okay, Najee Harris, their all-star running back, came in 5th in the Heisman voting. He could have gone, decided to come back. They had multiple defensive stars that all could have gotten drafted and been paid millions of dollars. They all decided to come back because they felt that they had something unfinished. Right? So then COVID happens, all this stuff. There was all these reasons that these young men could have just said, no, we're not going to do it. You know, we just want to get paid. But they didn't do it.
Yeah.
They didn't do it. They are the only team ever to play 11 conference games and win all conference games by 35 points or more. Okay? They go undefeated for the season. They destroy Ohio State in the college football national championship game.
Sorry, Scott.
Yeah.
And
Them gums can play pretty good football.
Can we
for
talk
sure.
about, though, how many, I thought this is where you were going with it, how many were injured on
Oh,
both
yes.
sides who were literally hobbling on and off the field?
Yeah.
Like, that is what just, it
no,
was,
Jalen
Jake,
Waddle.
it was a lot of fear.
Jalen
Like,
Waddle 7 weeks ago broke his ankle, and
he
Jalen
literally
Waddle
was
played.
hobbling.
Okay, because Devontae Smith, their Heisman Trophy winner, got hurt in the second half. He didn't play the whole second half.
Yeah.
So now
felt bad for him.
Alabama's entire game plan has to change. So literally, Jalen Waddle is hobbling
it
out
up.
there with plate and screws in his ankle.
Nice.
And this mofo is out there and he's catching them balls.
Cue the violins.
Literally like dragging himself off the
cool.
field, man. I
That's
mean,
cool.
But there were multiple ones on both sides
Yes.
who were injured. And I was like,
It was
man,
really
these
cool.
kids.
So I know we don't normally talk about sports, but Alabama's my team, man. We won the national championship last night, and
Congrats.
it was just
Congrats.
it was just really cool to see. And then Mac Jones, last thing.
Oh, yeah.
Mac Jones, 5th-year senior, had to sit behind Jalen Hurts for 2 years, and then Tua for 2 years. Anybody else would have left, and he didn't.
They gave him a play. They let him in and play.
He played
sat
the
behind-
whole
He's been-
season.
What do you
He's
mean
been-
he sat behind then?
Like he was like 3rd string quarterback for 4 years.
He waited for his turn
at Alabama.
Oh,
for
and
4
this year,
years.
Yeah, this year
I don't
he got
watch
to
Alabama.
start.
How am I
This
supposed to?
year he got to start,
Okay.
and he broke every single quarterback record in a season
And
this
won
year.
the championship.
And
won.
won the national
That's a
title.
pretty awesome
It's
story.
an amazing story. He will be drafted now. He went from never going to have a chance to play in the NFL to drafted. And it just goes to the point, Devontae Smith, and this is I'm getting to the point of these kids did not do what kids today normally do now, where they take the easy way out, the guaranteed money, et cetera. And Devontae Smith said it best on his Heisman Trophy speech, where he said, for all the kids out there that aren't the biggest, they're not the strongest, just keep going, because he's like only 175
He's
pounds,
a little
man.
fellow.
Like he's
Yes.
just
That's my
destroying
weight.
everybody. Yeah. So
He's only 100.
have these 300-pound
I still got a chance.
440 people running at you and see how you fare. Anyway, okay, all right. Off the sports stuff there for a little while. Okay, let's talk about where to even start? Let's talk about they are bringing articles of impeachment against Trump again. Right now, this is all very strategic, you would think, because Joe Biden is talking about the theme of his inauguration is going to be America United.
Nice.
Good luck.
All right, but at the same time, the Congress and now the Senate are going to they're going to impeach Trump. Okay?
I don't know. I'm not sold on it yet.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I think Pelosi's going to walk it back. I think that's why Trump's saying it'll be a peaceful transition.
I don't think
He's
so.
laying out the plan.
I don't think so.
No.
I think they're going to do it. They even said they have 100 days after the inauguration to do it.
After the inauguration?
Yep.
So here's my question.
Now, I don't know how legal that is, but that's what they're saying.
You know how you brought up, so if they actually do move forward and they actually impeach Trump, just for everyone listening, I do wonder what that means. If you are a Trump supporter, then will we all be deemed traitors?
No.
If he was impeached?
No. Bill Clinton was impeached.
Yeah, but that was scandalous. Trump,
Obama should have
That
been.
doesn't surround what happened
Cigar
to
sales
Trump.
were never higher during that time
Yeah,
frame.
but how they're already treating Trump people, how they're already taking stores that have MAGA
You
out
have
of
no
it.
idea what I'm talking about.
I do. I'm just not ignoring you. I'm serious though, because if they're already doing that and then they win and get him impeached, then what does that mean for all of us?
Nothing. It's just going to piss everybody off.
Yeah.
And it's going to add to division.
Disagree,
It'll put
because
an
they're already
asterisk.
calling people who support Trump. They're already taking things out of stores.
Well, and we're getting to that as well.
point.
Here's part of the stuff. Let me make sure I'm hooked to the Bluetooth, because Lord knows I always forget to do that. A lot of this is being fueled by, of course, AOC. All right, so AOC is doing this because this is the rhetoric that is going on right now. Now, again, let me be clear. I was not on board with the storming of the Capitol building, and a lot of people got mad at me for saying that. Let me also be clear. I am 100% on board for taking my guns and shooting people if I truly believe that the government is trying to overthrow us, okay? I don't believe that we're there yet, but we are getting very, very, very close. But I digress. I've said the reason I had a problem with it is because I believe we walked hook, line, and sinker into exactly what they wanted us to do to
Agreed.
be able to do the attack that they're doing on us right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Trump supporters, conservatives are dangerous, so we're going to remove them from everything. We gave it to them. Oh, it was Antifa. Oh, it was Black Lives Matter. Shut up. It's an excuse. You fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker, you fell for it. And the worst part about it is we did it for them. Like we got the permits. We bust people in. We let them know exactly when we're going to be there, when we're going to do it, blah, 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 blah. All these people had to do was show up. That's it. Either way. All right. So here's AOC, and this is what's leading to it now. Now, I've seen all the videos. And unfortunately, yes, there was bloodshed. People lost their lives. And it's horrible. I mean, it is. It's horrible. In fact, if I may get vulnerable and personal for a moment, Ashley Babbitt, the Air Force veteran that died, it was brought to my attention that one of the last tweets that she liked was mine, talking about how January 6th would go down in history one way or another. And I got to live with that. I got to process that, you know? Did I, in my own way, contribute to this woman losing her life? Did she take out of context what I meant by that when I said it to mean that you got to storm the freaking Capitol and start trying to break through police barricades and things? I don't know. I'll have to live with that. And and figure that out on my own. But what I didn't see was this, and this is AOC here. So here she is. This is the horrors that AOC says it was.
We came close to half of the House nearly dying on.
I'm just going to go ahead and
Half
stop
of the
and
House.
respond and rewind that one more time. Here we go. First step.
We came close to half of the House nearly dying on Wednesday.
Half of the House nearly dying.
Wow.
I didn't see a gun one from the people storming.
No.
So what the crap is she talking about when she says this?
Stirring up fear.
People are talking about insurrection. Okay, this was insurrection. I ain't never heard of an insurrection one time that didn't have a gun. Not one gun. And again, I'm not condoning the Capitol riots, okay? As I've already explained multiple times, I am not in agreement with it because I believe that we were very stupid, honestly. We were very stupid. We walked right into the trap. Jake's being very silent, but that's what I believe. Okay? I believe that we were stupid in that regard and we let them beat us there. But there's never been an insurrection once that didn't have a gun. And a lot of people have pointed out that you really think that the people who own all the guns, if they really wanted to storm the Capitol
Correct.
building,
That we couldn't.
yeah, that we couldn't have done it? Like, do you really believe that if there's over 5 million registered gun owners just for the NRA, and we
Right.
all know that there's a lot more than that are just registered.
Well, these groups that they're attacking, like you were saying, MAGA stores and whatnot, it's like they're essentially saying 55 plus million people are their enemy now.
Yeah.
So like it really is splitting the country. Like Patriot Mobile, we have these other companies that are starting. You know, it's
Yeah,
a
it won't be
split.
long until they kick Patriot Mobile off.
Yeah, and then we'll have to have a
Because
conservative
Patriot Mobile
server
bounces off of AT&T towers, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it went from, if you don't like what our terms of service are for social media, go somewhere else. Create your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was, well, your own thing, we don't like it, so now we're going to kick you off our servers. So now it's turned into create your own internet.
Yeah,
Basically.
Are you kidding me?
we'll go to the dark web.
GoDaddy kicks off pro gun site off the servers. So just because it's a pro gun site, I guess maybe they sell AR-15 parts or something like that. GoDaddy just decides, you know what? You can no longer have a business now.
Yeah, and some of that might be out of fear and pressure, you know, to do
I'm
that. A lot of
sure.
companies do that, but the more pressure they get, everybody's going to bend, and eventually we'll lose our Second Amendment.
Yeah. All
Or our
right.
First Amendment.
So hold on. We're not done with the Capitol riots yet. And then we're going to talk about this mass censorship that's leading to this new world order. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a new world order right now. You are witnessing it. And unfortunately, I believe you're only witnessing the start of it. But before we go any further, we got to get into a sponsor. All right. Does it make sense that the same company who controls half of online retail also passively eavesdrops on your private conversations at home? What about the idea that a single company controls 90% of the internet searches, runs your email service, and gets to track everything you do on your smartphone? Big tech is more powerful than most countries are, and they profit by exploiting your personal data. It's time to put a layer of protection between your online activity and these tech juggernauts, and that's why I use ExpressVPN. Think about how much of your life is on the internet. Sadly, every site you visit, video you watch, or message you send gets tracked and data mined. But when you run ExpressVPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, something big tech can use to personally identify you. So ExpressVPN makes your activity harder to trace and sell to advertisers. What I like most about ExpressVPN is how easy it is to use. Download the app on your phone or computer, tap one button, and bam, you're protected. So stop handing over your personal data to big tech monopoly that mines your activity and sells your information. Protect yourself with the VPN I trust to keep me safe online. Visit expressvpn.com/Graham. That's expressvpn.com/Graham to get 3 extra months free. 3 months free.
3
That
months
is a tongue
3
twister.
months
Go to
free.
expressvpn.com/Graham right now to learn more. All right, so back to the Capitol riots. Donald Trump is now claiming some responsibility for the Capitol riots. I think he's right. I think he's right. I think he's right, man. And you know, and I've talked to a lot of people. Again, I voted for Donald Trump. I would not consider myself a blind Trump supporter. No one is perfect. No one is above criticism. And I think that even though I've listened to his speech over and over and over again, and he even says, I don't know if I took a picture of that or not. One second. Let me see if I can find it. Did I take a picture of it? No, I didn't. Somebody had a transcript that, you know, basically showed, you know, he said, a lot of you are going to march to the Capitol in a minute to peacefully protest. Even though he said that, and there is no direct incitement of violence, he also really, really, really went in hard to the paint that they stole this from us. You know, I hope Mike Pence does the right thing because now's the time to make a stand, etc. And Dan Crenshaw, as much as I disagree with Dan Crenshaw about a lot of things, Dan Crenshaw was right about this. The truth is, nothing was going to happen on the 6th. That's just the truth. Nothing was going to happen. I mean, they were going to argue it, but nothing was going, at least in Congress. I'm talking about Congress specifically. Okay. Mike Pence could have, but he was never going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so that's what he's trying to say. And again, I don't agree with everything Dan's been saying lately, but I do agree with him on that. The truth is January 6th, as far as Congress goes and government goes, nothing was ever going to happen. It just wasn't.
But I also think that's why it was so important that thousands did show up, because we needed to make our presence known. Unfortunately, it went awry. And I do agree that Trump did stoke the flames. I mean, that's what he's known for doing.
Yeah. Well, and
that's what he's known for doing.
Well, and that's where he claims some responsibility.
And that's why I think that was wise of him.
I think what he means by that is he probably shouldn't have spoke. In general.
Yeah, and I think part of it, like if you believe some of the things we say, like elite pedophile rings and things like that, like we're up against true evil.
Yes.
So a lot of these people for the past 4 years have been called racist, all the words in the book, you know, you can't even read, you ignorant Trump supporter, all that kind of stuff. And then you threaten to steal their president or their election or whatever. Yeah, they're going to be really, really irritated.
True. Okay. But again, if that's where we are, okay,
and if they stole it,
let's dive down the rabbit hole for a minute, people. If that's where we are, then we still were stupid because going there like we did wasn't going to do anything.
Are you talking about storming the Capitol, quote unquote storming?
I'm talking about
the rally.
Are you talking about the rally?
Let's say hypothetically for 1 second, and I'm saying hypothetically because we don't want to get sued. Let's say hypothetically for 1 second that it was the moment to take that stand. The government no longer has the will of the people in mind, which you can't say that the entire government is that way because that's not true. All right. Now, a large percentage of the government does not have your best interest in mind, but you cannot say that the entire government does not have your best interest in mind. Okay. In fact, I think that we messed up our last check mark to truly be able to say, screw you. We're not paying taxes no more. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. Because Ted Cruz, Hawley, all these people were arguing the case in session before the president of the Senate, Mike Pence, that day. They were doing the last check mark that we needed. And then if it still wasn't heard, then we could advance it and then we could take it further. Yeah. But we jumped the gun, man. I mean, we jumped the gun. And everybody, here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest difference between the Revolutionary War and right now. Okay? Context is everything. The Revolutionary War was because you had some tyrant that wasn't even a part of your country dictating what you could do, when you could do it, how you could marry, what you could worship, when you could worship, the taxes you had to pay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? We are now fighting internally with ourselves. So I hate people using the Revolutionary War as an example. It's not the same thing.
Right.
Because it's just not. That was fought for different reasons. Okay? What we're actually talking about now is who is correct as to what direction America should keep going.
Yeah.
That's what we're arguing about now. The Revolutionary War was about we should be our own country.
Right.
They're going to have a really big problem with it, and they're going to fight us over it.
Right.
Okay? Let's just break it down as much as we can break it down. That's the truth.
And we also say socialism constantly. We say the left is the new party of socialism.
Yep.
You see what socialism's done around the world? Potentially millions of Americans could die. So that's another thing in these people's minds when they're at the Capitol.
Socialism is based around a lie. And I've talked about this a lot. It's based around the idea that utopia is possible.
Right.
It's not. Okay? If they really believed in equality for all, there would be no leaders. Mm-hmm. There would be no rich people, but there will be. And so even if they enact socialism in America, there will be super rich people, and there will still be people that are in charge of you and are your boss.
And there will be more poor people.
Yes.
All right. Well, back to the point. If we really are at that place in time where it's getting, and I agree, okay? I agree that we are getting very, very close to something really, really, really big happening here.
Yeah, they got the House and the Senate.
Somebody said hashtag Republic of Texas the other day.
Or South Dakota. Is that the other
Or
one?
South Dakota. There's a lot of a lot of people picking up and getting ready to move to South Dakota.
I dare you to mess with that state. A state of just entirely conservatives.
They would just separate.
Well, that's what. Well, and again, to point out Tucker Carlson's point, and this is what I don't think a lot of people realize, and this is why we have to make sure we are at that point, okay? Because most of these people who are talking about this stuff, and I don't bash other conservatives online. I just don't. I don't believe in bashing the home team online when I don't agree with something. But a lot of these conservatives that are saying, oh, you're weak because you don't want to storm the Capitol, and all these people that have turned against me, let me tell you something. You ain't never been to real war. Every single one of you that I've seen say that, you ain't never done anything. Nothing. All right? So you have no clue what the crap you're talking about.
Yeah.
None. Nothing. Let me explain something to you. There is no seceding. There is no separating without bloodshed. There's just not.
Yeah.
There is not. So if we really are at that point, and again, I am pro-America. So if half of these states are no longer in the best interest for America, I'm not saying that I wouldn't agree with that down the line. But what I'm saying is, if you want to declare war internally, you have to understand that it's not a war of words anymore at that point. Joe Rogan came on the other day, and he was like, the thing that most people don't understand is all of the people, the 1% of America that actually fights, the 1% of America that's actually been to war, the 1% of America that actually knows the logistical side of what it takes and all this stuff, they're not in this right now. They're not. And what you really have to be afraid of is once those people get involved, everybody else is, well, he said the F word. Everybody else is screwed at that point, because it's true, because you don't understand. And so when I said last week that the 6th was not the right time to do it, that's what I mean, because you actually have no idea what you're doing. If we are at a point where we've got to overtake the government, it takes a lot more planning than we're going to put a bunch of people on a bus and we're going to rally in the middle of D.C.
Right.
That's the dumbest freaking thing from a military strategical standpoint I've ever heard in my freaking life. Okay? Also, you're blasting it all over social media. So if you really thought that you were going to freaking insurrect and take over the government, you don't talk about that kind of stuff. Right. You know what I mean? It's like the Boston bomber. Hey, on this date at this time, I'm going to plant a bomb. Get ready.
Smart.
Now, again, let me clarify.
Yeah, I was going to say you better.
I am not saying that that is where we are at or what we should do. I am claiming that when I say that the 6th of January was not it, that's what I mean by that. And what we actually did was we just walked hook, line, and sinker into exactly what the left wanted us to do, to be able to demonize us and now be able to say that we are dangerous.
And two things I thought about while you were speaking. One is, we have to be united. Whereas right now we're cannibalizing.
Never going to happen.
Well, I know, but that's what the problem is. Because of what happened, now we're cannibalizing, just like the left is. So we're not even united anymore in our own party. And then number two, most people are not going to change unless they become personally uncomfortable. It's one thing to go to a rally. It's another thing to do whatever it may be, log off of something, or, I don't know what it will
Are you
entail.
willing to not have a job?
Are you willing to sacrifice for your children?
Yeah. Are you willing? And and again, that goes back to my point. Are you willing to, the second you decide that it's time to secede, are you willing to lose your home? Are you willing to lose your health insurance? Are you willing to lose your ability to buy food?
Yeah.
Are you willing to watch your kids go hungry and have to eat rice every day because that's how it goes. Mm-hmm. Both sides. You strangle the other economically first to break the will of the other person. Yeah. Fighting is one thing, but the fighting is not what ends up really winning the war in the first place. Okay, the fighting takes over territory, but it's really the crippling of the economies and the ability to keep going that actually ends a war. Mm-hmm. Are you there yet? And that's what I meant when I said that the 6th was not the day, because I'm trying to be honest with you. I'm trying to be real with you. Yeah. Okay. And here's another thing. Here's another part of the new world order right now is President-elect Biden has mentioned that he is open to the idea of going after even speakers, people that spoke at the rally in D.C. Not political people, just people that spoke in general.
Is that enough reason to storm a Capitol?
I don't know. Can they prove legally? Now, again, the legal system is not perfect for sure. Mm-hmm. But can they legally make a case that says that their actions led towards the incitement of violence? I don't know.
The thing is, I don't know if they can do that or not, but either way, they will win.
Because they control speech.
They control it,
and then they can push whatever narrative they want, and everyone believes it on that, at least on that side, and they still win.
All right, so this is New World Order stuff, guys, and this is literally, Joe Biden's not even president yet. So now you've got potential people that were speakers that may be prosecuted legally. Facebook is now removing any content in regards to stopping the steal. Any content that claims that there was something wrong with the election or anything like that, gone. Mm-hmm. Automatic, gone. Cumulus, one of the largest online distributors of radio, etc., has given Ben Shapiro, Dan Bongino, and Mark Levin warning that if they say anything else about the election, they will remove them from the airwaves. Terminate them.
And why is that? Because they care so much about human life?
Oh, no. It's because
not abortion.
It's because they know that the election was stolen.
Right, exactly.
Okay? They know. We haven't got that warning yet, so we're just going to keep on talking about it.
I'm sure it's coming.
They know that it's, but see, there's the other thing, right? So what I'm doing right now, and I ask you, by the way, really quick, I haven't even thanked you guys. Over the weekend, we were the number 3 podcast in the world.
Yeah.
And that is because of you. Not in news, in the world.
Come on, baby.
And I encourage you, please tell somebody about the Dear America podcast. Give us 5 stars. It helps us in the ratings. But how long until we become a big enough threat where Apple goes, we don't want you on our podcast network anymore?
Maybe.
Soon. I feel like it might be soon.
Before this podcast?
Yeah. About midway through this podcast. Yeah.
Just cuts off.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. 6,000 lawmakers now want Cruz and Hawley disbarred. Rudy Giuliani, the New York Board of Lawyers or whatever it's called, want Giuliani disbarred. Facebook is telling its employees not to wear their shirts in public. I wonder why. I'm telling you right now.
Wow.
I would at least thump somebody. What? In the ear? Just be like, are you proud of yourself?
It's not their employees' fault, probably, babe.
Not
all of them. Okay. But they employ a lot of people.
Let's see what else. Oh, okay. So, but here's the thing, and here's how we're going to end this show. We're going to talk about this. Twitter loses billions. I think it's like $5 billion since they kicked the president off of Twitter. Now, here's something interesting. I myself, I've lost almost 30,000 followers on Twitter. I've lost almost 5,000 on Instagram.
Since the Capitol?
Since the Capitol. Yeah. A lot of people are calling it Twitter purge, which I do agree with, but this is what Twitter is coming back and saying. It's actually a bunch of people that have deactivated their accounts. That's why they're disappearing from your follower account, because they're actually
interesting timing.
They are leaving the platform because of the president.
Yeah,
which
I think part of that's probably
there
true.
may be some merit behind that.
I mean, who's on Twitter anymore? Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You know, I mean, we were almost at 1 million on Parler. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
Gone, like bam, like that. So let's talk about, how do we fight against this new world order? And the new world order, just so everybody understands what I mean when I say that, the new world order is the government. Well, the government was never supposed to be in charge of America. However, we've allowed it to be so. Yeah. But the government's not the most powerful force in America anymore. It's big tech.
Mm-hmm. Corporations.
Big tech is in charge of America. All right, and I'm going to go even further. I'm going to steal this from Glenn Beck. There you go, Glenn. I gave you your props. I think the government is in on it with big tech. And big tech is in on it with government, because big tech wants to continue to grow, continue to have power, and the government wants to hold on to their power.
Yeah. And Republicans and Democrats just want their power. That's the threat that Trump posed to the system that we had, which now they took the power back and they'll pass the ball back and forth.
Yeah. Big tech now controls who wins elections. Mm-hmm. Not just presidential elections, every election.
Republicans are to blame too for that.
Yes, and they are. Because Section 230, everybody's been talking about it for a long time. So they have the power of, if you are not a candidate that falls in line with the ideals that they see fit as what are good ideals, then Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all these places will not let you advertise. They will not let you be seen. They will not let you be heard.
How are elections won nowadays?
From social media. I don't give a crap what anybody says.
Russia.
Anybody listening to this that works on campaigns, they're like, well, there's grassroots and there's this and that. Shut up.
Who are you saying? Oh, we won't say the name.
No, we're not going to say the name. All of you saying that there's still phone calling, they're still knocking on doors, they're still sending stuff in the mail. Shut up. Yep. Okay? Anything I get in the mail that is not something that I know what it is, it immediately goes in the trash. I don't even read it. I mean, for real. I do not even read. Shut up. Okay? It's that kind of mindset that has us where we are right now.
And social media is only going to get stronger with our younger generation.
True.
Yeah. So. And you have deep fakes coming up, which you won't be able to trust anything you see anymore.
Oh, Jake, no one's ready for that.
Yeah.
Well, get ready. It's here.
Let's talk about that for another day. Let's talk about how do we actually fight? So a lot of people keep asking me, how do we fight? And the answer is, there's no easy way to fight this. Okay? So if you really want to hurt big tech, if you really want to go after big tech, the only way that you do that is you go after the shareholders.
That's right.
And what I mean by going after the shareholders is you have to make the shares go down in value.
Right.
Because the shares are at an all-time, well, not Twitter right this second, but Facebook, and before the president, they were at an all-time high because everybody's bickering all over the internet.
Right.
You know, the engagement's never been higher across the internet. Division sells.
Right.
So how do you really fight against big tech? Well, the truth of the matter is, the only thing that makes sense, a lot of people are like, well, you create another platform, a rival. Well, here's the truth. Okay, you just saw what happened to Parler, right? And even if it's not a Parler, the only platform that's come along in the past 10 years that had a chance was Instagram. Mm-hmm. Facebook bought Instagram. Yeah. So they're either going to shut you down or they're just going to buy you.
Right.
One or the other. They're either going to shut you down or they're going to buy you out. Snapchat, even though it's still around, it has never recovered from the trajectory it was on when Mark Zuckerberg approached them to buy them. And when they said no, He's like, well, I'm just going to copy what you do and put it on Facebook and
I'm
Instagram.
going to
Yeah.
kill you then.
Yeah.
Basically.
And granted, they're still around. Now, don't get me wrong. Snapchat is a, very profitable company, but nothing like they could have been.
Right.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So how do you fight? How do you fight? Some of the ideas going around right now is we have to turn it off.
Yeah, that's the only thing, really. I mean, take care of your own house, your own family, get a good group of friends, live your life, go to work, don't use Facebook.
Yeah, but think about all the businesses that will kill.
Well, sure, but what can you do specifically? If they're asking, what can I do? It's like, take care of your own house.
And it does get more complicated, right? Because my whole life, since the kids were born, I've used Facebook as a storage for my pictures.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Well, you can do a mass download really quick.
but I'm just
before you
saying
do
it does get a little more complicated than just
No,
even
it
And then
is.
also, how do we communicate with each other then?
Phones.
True.
With
Email.
the whole nation?
How long till you can't have a phone?
You have to, well, that's next too.
I'm not
but-
saying there's no sacrifice. I'm just saying
Right, the
you got to be smart
sacrifice-
about it, and we need to be collective about it. Otherwise, it's
Right.
just half of us doing
How
one thing. It
long?
makes no difference.
How long before they make you start showing party affiliation identification cards?
with your vaccination.
With your
thing.
vac-
Well,
Yeah.
no, forget the vaccination. Honestly, I'm going to be completely honest with the vaccination stuff, and this is probably going to make a lot of people mad. We've had vaccinations for forever, okay? I had to go to public school. I had to get jabbed with Hep A, Hep B, all this stuff, or I wasn't allowed to go to school. So even though I ain't taking the vaccine right now until I see like millions of people take
Yeah.
it, and then I see what happens. But this whole freaking out like the vaccine is the mark of the beast stuff, I don't believe that crap. Shut up. I don't. I don't believe that because the military, I had to carry a vaccine card around with me all the time.
Right.
What have you been shot with? Because we need to see it.
And people like Bill Gates and some of the people funding these vaccines have talked about population control in the past. That's one thing to think about.
Well, I've already had 3 kids. So. Anyway, no, but what I'm saying is here, the whole vaccine thing because here's what I will say, okay? Now, and again, I've been very honest about this. COVID-19 is real. I never said it wasn't real.
Right.
Lord knows it sucked for me. Do I think the entire economy needs to be shut down? Absolutely not. It's the most ridiculous, planned, coordinated attack I've ever seen ever.
Yeah.
However, people freaking out over vaccination cards. We've had vaccination cards for forever. Like
Cards?
Yeah.
That we have
Well,
to
like-
show to get on a plane?
freaking, well, not that.
But like to
Okay.
get
But
into
you have to
school.
show to be able to go to school.
Okay.
Like your kids, when I was in school, if you didn't have Hep A, Hep B, all that stuff, guess what you ain't doing?
Yeah.
You ain't going to school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we
Which I don't understand that either.
don't
All the other kids are vaccinated.
Don't act like it's something that hasn't. All I'm saying is you can be outraged and that's fine. Don't act like it's something that hadn't happened before. That's all I'm saying. All right? Because the truth is we've had vaccination cards and vaccination reports for a very long time.
Yeah. I think it's the rushed vaccine to get it ready
Yeah.
super
Oh,
fast
yeah.
is the fear.
Well,
most
no, it
people
just
have.
proves how deadly the virus wasn't. How quickly they were able to come up with a vaccine. Okay?
I'll take it last. Give it to all the elderly people and people of color.
Oh, I'm still not taking it, but I will support
It's just
whatever
like
anyone else decides.
it's just like the flu shot.
Right.
I'm more outraged that the whole thing still doesn't make sense, and I can visit my mother in a hospital for 4 hours, but have to go home for 4, but then I can come back the next day. I'm just more concerned about the hypocrisy that our schools are starting to shut down again. For why?
I was at the
when
doctor.
children aren't really affected.
Doctor yesterday, and I won't say what the appointment was about, but the doctor had a mask on as we're like super close doing doctor stuff. I'm like, are you a doctor that believes in this stuff? She's like, I can't really talk about that, man. I was like, all right,
Yeah, I bet
I'm
you
leaving.
couldn't.
We just had a doctor moment,
We had a doctor
and
moment.
we're
Doctor
wearing
moment.
masks. It's funny.
I
But they're mandated to. in
Okay,
their defense.
back to the point.
Yeah.
Back to the point. How do we fight? The only option that we have right this second is build our own internet.
It's going to take some time.
Al Gore.
but I mean, but
Instead
that's,
of Google, we'll have
that's the point.
Gorgle.
So we went from
Stole it.
not very long ago, the internet, Bernie Sanders says, was a human right. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
And now all of a sudden, If you're conservatives, you're not even.
It's
you
a
shouldn't even be.
privilege.
No, you shouldn't even be allowed to be on the internet.
Yeah.
But the thing is, again, it has to be calculated, and you have to play smart. You could truly fight amongst yourselves, and that will solve absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be strategic and hit people actually where it hurts.
Well-
The shareholders are not going to be affected if you are, doing rioting somewhere else that
Right.
doesn't affect them.
What do you think they've been name calling for so long, calling us Nazi, Nazis to demoralize us, make us look like we don't have morals and we're evil people? Because then it's easier to do things like this to a group like
then
that.
they're protecting
It's like, well, they're
other people.
Nazis. They just stormed the Capitol. Obviously, they shouldn't have a voice.
Well, again, if you boycott big tech, what's the time frame on that? How do you communicate the time frame on that? You say cell phones, but you're talking millions of people. How do you communicate with millions of people anymore?
Well, I never communicate with millions. It's always been 100 or less, probably.
Okay. All right. Let me rephrase. Okay. Let me rephrase. The people that have the ability to get millions of people to turn off their social medias, how do you then let's say we did it, right? Let's say we did that. Let's say
dark.
let's say me and 100 super big influential people said, you know what? The only way we can fight this is to log off.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to have to buy in to, metaphorically bleed for a while because of this.
That'd be a good movement, like a blackout.
Okay, but then how do you communicate? That's my point.
Text or email temporarily.
What host Klaviyo and all that stuff? What host SMS texting and all that mess? How do you communicate with millions of people at one time? If you go dark off the internet, how do you do it? Email list? Well, we already found out that MailChimp and stuff like
won't
that are
let
going
you
to
do
cut your
Go
email
to the
list
dark
off.
web. Dark web.
Oh, that sounds terrifying.
You really think do you really believe that web servers don't know how to cut off dark webs? Do you
and if
do
you're
you
on the
really
dark web,
believe that?
can't they arrest you if you're on the
Yes,
dark
I
web?
definitely believe that. There are definitely servers that you cannot access that are on the dark web that
I
sell
know.
guns, sell drugs. I mean,
I don't.
Oh,
I
I
think
guess
I think that the servers know exactly what they're doing, just like child porn, man. I think they know. I think they know
Maybe.
exactly
maybe
what's going on.
Maybe it's a bait and hook kind of thing.
I think I
they make
absolutely
money
think
as long
it
as
is.
they make money.
Yeah, I
you
do.
could at least try it.
I'm not going on the dark web, Jake.
Because the
No
dark web,
Let's go to the
dark
light web.
the amount of servers and basically build your own internet it would take. There's no way you couldn't find those facilities. Do you guys realize how gigantic Amazon server facilities are? Do you guys have any clue?
It's like a closet, right?
I heard it was pretty big.
It's like the
kidding.
size of
Yes,
every
we
Amazon
know.
building ever.
Yes, we
Okay,
know.
let's just be real. There's no way that people are like, oh, I wonder what that 1 million square foot facility is right there.
Right.
Okay, all I'm saying is, how do you then communicate? Okay, how do you do it? That's the problem. You can't go online and say, for 90 days, we're going to black out. Well, then all the shareholders just go, all right,
Well, we'll wait 90
wait
days.
90 days.
Yeah.
And then on day 90,
Everyone
we're going to
turns
have the
back
biggest
on.
surge we've had in 20
and
years.
I think the question, how do we communicate? We don't. We don't communicate for a long period of time if that's the case.
That's gonna work.
Nothing has ever been accomplished great without
because then everyone will be on
massive
the same
communication.
page.
Well, yeah, it's like the temporary sacrifice you have to do to bleed out these companies.
See, but this is where it really gets tricky. If you want to talk about the fact that if people really listening right now believe that we're on the brink of civil war, then the truth of the matter is you can't go dark. Because while you're going dark, the other side is planning against you collectively.
Yeah. I
So
mean, once the thing,
we can't go dark and not communicate with each other, because then as soon as we come back, they've already constructed their plan united against us, and they're just going to destroy us.
It'll be hard for MailChimp, like email initially, it'll be hard for them to disrupt that. Seeing private emails, they'll have to look through each individual email. It's not like a public thing you post.
No, because the people who have the massive email list.
I'm not talking about email list. You wanting to get in touch with somebody, you email them, right? Your email's still fine, right?
You can't email millions, though.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
Your ability to email millions is gone, is what I'm trying to say. Like this new the sacrifice, that's gone.
But then I'm telling you, we would not win the battle that way.
Yeah, 'cause
Maybe,
we can't be
yeah.
united, though.
No, there is there is no maybe. Like you can't coordinate efforts of attack, either physical, economical, communications, without mass communication.
Yeah.
It's like sending 1 million soldiers to another country and never talking to them.
How would you do it now? Like if you had to do it today, how would you coordinate a big group of soldiers to a certain area? Facebook?
No, like the way the
So you
like
wouldn't
how
use
the
Facebook?
military
like the
does
actual
it.
military?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what stage of the Civil War are we at? Like,
Well,
we're talking pre-Civil War?
Microsoft owns the military. Every single device ever that the military has, it's Microsoft.
Yeah.
Microsoft owns the military, folks. Like,
The issue is,
you know
honestly,
what I mean?
it really is on us, though, because honestly, if people that be powers that be have seen this coming for a while, we really should have already created a server then.
Yeah,
Like we're backwards about 10 steps behind
but
them.
that's how even the United States military, that's how they communicate. Microsoft bid a long time ago. Everything the military does, all their emails, all their everything goes through Microsoft.
So is it too late? Like they own everything? I mean, the only way to
you
fight
own
is to
everything.
either, cold turkey blackout for months at a time, or
Which I feel like they can wait that out.
Again, what we're hypothetically talking about is if there was a civil war, how do you go about doing it? The answer is you can't go blackout communications because then how are you what's the next step, right?
I guess I meant blackout like social media.
Okay, but even then, what's the next step? Why are we blacking out social media? We're blacking out social media because we would hope that would then force the shareholders to force Facebook, Instagram, Twitter to change their policies, right?
Right.
That's what we're really wanting is
Right.
we're still wanting Daddy to just lighten up his grip a little bit off of
See,
us.
I want Daddy to jump off a cliff.
Okay, well, if you want
I want a new daddy.
if you want
Get
Daddy
rid
to
of
jump
Facebook.
off a cliff, then you have to figure out how to break up Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
Twitter, and YouTube.
Yes.
The government has shown time and time and time again as a collective whole, they're never going to let that happen because Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, they have control over our elected officials.
Correct.
Because they have the ability to suppress their ability to even speak to the people that elected them.
Right.
Clearly.
Their campaigns, everything. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Google, they all own them. Because if they deem them, no, we're not going to let you advertise. We're not going to let you, your ads run. We're not going to let you be seen. Not going to be heard. Guess what? You don't get elected again.
Yeah.
So they control them. Now, there's probably a lot of elected officials that don't even realize that they control them, but they do.
Yeah.
Which is the worst kind of situation to be in.
Yeah.
Right. The best. For
So the
Facebook.
answer is what I'm talking to you about is I don't know right this second. What I'm trying to get at is I'm talking to the people that are coming against us about January 6th. How'd that turn out? Didn't turn out too good, did it? In fact, it was the most excuse for an insurrection I've ever seen in my life. If that's what it actually was supposed to be, which it wasn't. It was a bunch of 99.9% peaceful protesters
Yep.
that allowed Antifa and BLM Incorporated to come in there and sabotage everything. But I digress. If we truly are at the brink of a civil war, going blackout isn't the answer. It'll hurt their pocketbooks for a little bit, but it's just like I talked about in real war. How do you actually win a war? One side simply just cannot continue. So if we black out mass communications, how are we supposed to communicate with everyone? Say we draw a line right across the Mason-Dixon line and say, you guys do whatever the crap you want to do. We're going to do whatever crap we want to do. We're cutting off all the internets. We're cutting off this stuff. Y'all don't control us no more. How do you provide food for everybody at that point? How do you communicate that? How do you communicate with farmers? How do you communicate with trucking distribution lines? How do you communicate? Communication is the de facto way that you win everything. Firepower is great. Soldiers and armies are great. If you can't communicate effectively, you're done. So the answer is I don't know. What I'm trying to do today is to inform everybody that there is a new world order here. It's here. We've let it in. It's like we let a wolf in the what do they call it? The sheep house,
In the sheep-
or the hen
chicken
house,
house.
or
The hen
so. Yeah, the hen house.
Chicken house. The wolf is here in the farm.
And it's big tech.
It is.
And somehow, some way, and maybe it is over. Maybe the answer is you got to go take the government back. And then as the government, say no. I mean that, in my opinion, that is the only answer. That if you're really going to break up big tech, which controls the world,
I was gonna say, you got to remember this isn't just our nation.
Controls the world. So then you got to think of it in a large scale attack right here. If we go after big tech, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Google, China uses those a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go after to break up big tech, you really don't think that's going to get the attention of China? So it is more than just storming the Capitol, guys. And that is the only point I'm trying to make, is if we really want to be united in a cause, then you need to learn and you need to figure out that it is far more difficult than just saying, oh, we're going to meet on January 6th, biggest rally movement ever, blah, blah, blah. The war is here, and we are going to be here as long as we possibly can. Go to GrahamAllen.com right now. My website is getting ready to launch. You can sign up. Who knows how long they'll let us be here, but at least maybe for a little bit they'll let me communicate you. That's all we have for this episode, guys. We'll see you again next time.
See ya.
Bye.